So good morning friends. Now we are going to start the discussion on different agents for pollination. In the last lecture we discussed the importance of ovule, parts of ovule, development of male and female gametophyte. Now one more that is pollination. Now agents for pollination. Okay, pollination is carried out by both biotic and abiotic agents. Abiotic are non-living agents responsible for pollination, while biotic are living agents responsible for pollination. Okay, so in the last lecture I told you that self-pollination is the sure method of pollination because it do not depends upon external agency. On the other hand, cross-pollination have to depend on some species of insects, birds, etc. Okay. Now, what are different agents for pollination? Pollinating agents are classified into number 1, abiotic agents. Abiotic agents are called as non-living agents which bring pollination. Abiotic are simply called as non-living. They include wind and water. Abiotic agents, number 1, wind pollination. The pollination by the agency of wind is called as anemophily. What is anemophily? The pollination by the agency of wind is called as anemophily. In grasses or in most of the cereals, monocots, pollination occurs by the agency of wind. When the transfer of pollen grains takes place from anther to stigma with the help of wind, the pollination is called as anemophily. What are the important modifications observed in the plant showing anemophilous kind of pollination? Anemophily is observed in grasses. The stems are weak. Flowers are important features, floral adaptations in anemophily. Flowers are highly reduced. Flowers are reduced. In case of anemophilous pollination, highly reduced flowers are present. They are non-nectarous. They are non-nectarous. They do not synthesize sugary portion. The sugary portion synthesized by the flower to attract the insect is called as nectar. In case of wind pollination, there is no need to attract the insect. That's why flowers are non-nectarous. Okay, pollens are produced in large quantity. Pollens are produced in large number. Why pollens are produced in large number? Because wastage of pollen grain is more. Wastage of pollen is more. That's why they are produced in very large quantity. Okay. So to allow the dispersal of pollen grains by the agency of wind, pollens are light in weight. Pollens are light in weight. They are light in weight. That's why they can be easily blown by the agency of wind. Then smooth exine is present. Exine is smooth. Smooth exine is present. Okay. Then in monocots, trimerous symmetry is present. Here anthers are versatile. Anthers are versatile. Versatile anthers are those in which anther lobes are long, anther lobes are thin, anther lobes are long, anther lobes are thin, and anthers are connected to the filament in such a way that anther can swing in all direction to facilitate wind pollination. Presence of versatile anther is important feature of anemophilous plant. To allow the anther to oscillate in different directions, versatile anther are present to allow the dispersal of pollen grains in multiple directions. Okay, right. Then stigma of this flower, in anemophilous flower, stigma is bilobed. Stigma is bilobed, stigma is feathery. Stigma is bilobed, stigma is feathery. Feathery or hairy stigma is present to allow the deposition of large number of pollen grains. The pollen grains can be easily trapped by the hairy stigma. That's why the plants which shows wind pollination are characterized by presence of feathery stigma or hairy stigma, and to increase the surface area for deposition of pollen, stigma is bilobed. Bilobed stigma is present. The function of this bilobed stigma is to allow the deposition of many pollen grains because the wastage of pollen grain is more. It increases surface area for the deposition of pollen grains. This kind of adaptations can be easily observed in the plants where pollination occurs by wind, called as simply anemophily. Phylous means pollination. Okay, right. Now next, second, hydrophily. Water pollination is called as hydrophily. The pollination by the agency of water is called as simply hydrophily or hydrophilous pollination. Hydrophilous pollination is mainly observed in Zostera, Vallisneria. Plants like Zostera, Vallisneria, Ceratophyllum shows hydrophilous pollination. In case of hydrophily, pollination occurs by the agency of water. Generally, hydrophilous plants, those plants in which water pollination takes place, they are dioecious. Male and female are different. Okay, male produces male flowers, that of female produces pistillate flowers. Okay, right. In case of hydrophily, again pollination occurs on the surface of water or pollination takes place in the water column below the water. Okay, when pollination occurs on the surface of water, called as epihydrophily. What is epihydrophily? Epihydrophily is a kind of pollination where the pollination takes place on the surface of water. Say for example, male plant produces male flowers, female plant characterized by presence of stigma. Stigma shows elastic nature, or female is highly elastic spring like structure because to trap the male flowers. Okay, both the plants are present at the same height, male and female are present at the same height. After the maturation of flowers by male, the flowers get detached along with anthers. Anthers are easily captured by the female. But friends, note that the specific gravity of a pollen grain is less than water. The specific gravity of pollen grain is less than water, therefore the pollen grain can remain suspended on the water surface and will not going to settle at the bottom or water column. So specific gravity of pollen grain is less than that of water. That's why the pollens which remain on the water surface only, they are not going to settle in the middle or at the bottom. Pollens are generally thread-like or needle-shaped pollens are produced. Needle-shaped pollen grains are produced in case of hydrophily. In case of hydrophily, pollen grains are needle-shaped. They are unwettable. Pollen grains are unwettable and provided with a outer waxy coat, and they are provided with a waxy coat to prevent the entry of excess water in their body. Okay, just one change. In case of hypohydrophily, pollination occurs below the water column. In case of hypohydrophily, pollination takes place below the water column. Okay, again male and female are present at the same height. Needle shaped pollens, unwettable pollens, waxy coat is present. The difference is that the specific gravity of pollen grain, specific gravity of pollen grain is equal to water, so that the pollen will remain at the same height. Pollen will remain present at the same height, and the specific gravity of pollen grain is equal to water. That's why the pollen grain will neither go on the surface or nor towards the bottom. It remains present at the same height, and the plant can easily pollinate. Flowers are again highly reduced. They are non-nectarous. The calyx, corolla, etc. are again reduced. Attractive petals are absent. So these are the important modifications shown by the plant performing water pollination. Okay, right. Now next, biotic agents. Biotic agents are also called as living agents responsible for pollination. Biotic agents are called as living agents. The common biotic agents include insects, birds, etc. Number one, biotic agents, living agents, insects. The pollination by the agency of insects is called as entomophily. The pollination by the agency of insect is called as entomophily. In a lotus plant, NEET, CET important. Lotus is an aquatic plant. Lotus is aquatic plant, and pollination occurs by, yes, lotus is aquatic, hence pollination occurs by insects. Though lotus is aquatic, till pollination occurs by the agency of insects. That's why the flower of lotus is attractive to attract the insects for pollination. Okay, कमळामध्ये जरी कमळाचं प्लांट ॲक्वॅटिक असेल तरी त्याच्यामध्ये अट्रॅक्टिव्ह फ्लॉवर आहे टू अट्रॅक्ट इन्सेक्टला अट्रॅक्ट करण्यासाठी. आणि म्हणून क्वेश्चन जर आला लोटसमध्ये कोणत्या प्रकारचं पॉलिनेशन दिसून येतं, आपला आन्सर फायनल असेल insect pollination, that is entomophilous pollination. So important features observed in the plants showing insect pollination. Number one, flowers are attractive. To attract the insect, flowers are attractive. Flowers are large, showy and exposed. Flowers are large, showy and exposed, again to attract insects for pollination. Flowers are nectarous. Nectar मी मगाशी बोललो तुम्हाला, it is the sugary portion. Flowers are nectarous so that in search of the nectar the insect can visit the flower and they can bring pollination. Nectarous flowers, sugary portion, okay, is called as nectar. Pollens are edible. Pollens are edible. Okay. Spiny pollens are present so that insect can easily consume the pollens. Spiny pollens are present. Spiny pollens remain bound to the body of insects and easily can be carried by the agency of these insects, living biotic agents. Okay. Then petals, attractive scented flowers are present. Flowers are scented because insect can visit the flower. So scented flowers are produced in entomophilous kind of pollination. Okay, right. Now next. Most of the agricultural plants, 70% agricultural plants are pollinated by honeybees. 70% agricultural plants are pollinated by honeybees. Hence, honeybees are called as friends of farmer. Honeybees are called as friends of farmer and are responsible for pollinating maximum agricultural plants. Okay, right. Next, some insects are robbers too. Means they visit the plant, they feed on the pollen grain, they consume the pollen grain, and they will not going to pollinate. Such are called as pollen robbers. Means काही insects प्लांट्सला विजिट करतील, पोलन्स घेतील, पोलनला फूड म्हणून घेतील, परंतु ते प्लांटचं पॉलिनेशन करणारच नाही. अशांना तुम्हाला म्हणाल रॉबर्स. ओके, राईट. पण इथे एक लक्षात ठेवा की प्लांटला सुद्धा इन्सेक्टला अट्रॅक्ट करण्यासाठी काही रिवॉर्ड्स द्यावा लागतं. प्लांट्स हॅव टू गिव्ह सम रिवॉर्ड्स टू द इन्सेक्ट in similar to that of your nectar and edible pollens, etc. Then and then only the insect will visit the flower and they will bring pollination. Okay, important. CET NEET study important. The plant yucca plant exhibit one pattern with the species of moth. Yucca and moth, that is insect, can't complete their life cycle without each other. Yucca plant and moth can't complete their life cycle without each other. Similar kind of relation association was observed in Amorphophallus. The plant Amorphophallus also exhibits similar pattern. Okay, what yucca will going to provide to the insects? Yucca plant attracts moth for pollination purpose. Moth pollinates the plant. In turn, yucca provide the space for deposition of eggs to the insects in their chambers of the ovary, and the larva can easily come out from the ovary. Okay, in turn moths are benefited because they get compartments for deposition of eggs. On the other hand, yucca is benefited because the plant can easily perform its pollination via the agency of moth. Amorphophallus flower is 6 feet tall. Okay, yucca plant आणि moth हे दोघंही, one more time, yucca very important. YUCCA, yucca plant आणि moth हे दोघंही जण, moth एक काइंड ऑफ इन्सेक्ट, हे दोघंही जण एकमेकांशिवाय त्यांची लाईफ सायकल कंप्लीट करू शकत नाही आहेत. रिझन सिंपल आहे, युक्का प्लांट हा फिजिट करल, युक्का प्लांट बेनिफिट होईल कारण युक्का प्लांट कुणाला स्पेस अवेलेबल करून देईल? त्या मॉथला, इन्सेक्टला, जेणेकरून इन्सेक्ट युक्काकडे येईल, इन्सेक्ट पॉलिनेशन करल, म्हणून युक्काचं पॉलिनेशन झालं, युक्का प्लांटचा बेनिफिट झाला, दुसऱ्या बाजूला इन्सेक्टचा सुद्धा बेनिफिट होतो कारण इन्सेक्टला एग्ज डिपॉझिट करण्यासाठी युक्का प्लांट त्याची ओव्हरी अवेलेबल करून देतो, म्हणून त्या ओव्हरीतून काही वेळानंतर लार्वा डेव्हलप होतात. अशा असोसिएशनमध्ये दोघांचाही बेनिफिट होतो आणि दोघंही दॅट इज युक्का अँड इन्सेक्ट हे एकमेकांशिवाय त्यांची लाईफ सायकल कंप्लीट करू शकत नाहीत. वन मोर टाइम इम्पॉर्टंट, युक्का प्लांट अँड द मॉथ will not going to complete their life cycle without each other. Yucca provides passage for the deposition of eggs to the moths so that moths can easily visit the plant. They deposit their eggs in the ovary. Moths get benefited. On the other hand, yucca is also benefited because the plant get its pollination with the help of insect species. Okay, right. One more mechanism is also observed in salvia plant. In salvia plant, important mechanism is observed called as lever mechanism. In salvia, lever mechanism is observed. What is lever mechanism? The salvia plant is characterized by presence of bifurcated corolla, petals arrangement अशा प्रकारचे, and it produces two anthers. Upper anther is fertile while lower is sterile. Upper is fertile, lower is sterile. Upper produces pollen grains, do not produces pollen grains. In salvia, lever mechanism is present. Here common connective is present for both the anthers. Lower anther is reduced, it is sterile, it do not produces pollen grains. Upper anther is fertile and it produces pollen grains. That's why the most choiceable anther of the insect is certainly upper. The insect enters in this flower, they sit on the lower sterile anther. As a result, upper fertile gets exposed and the pollen grains remain bound to the body of insect. Whenever such an insect visit another flower, certainly they helps in the transfer of pollen grains. This kind of mechanism observed in salvia is popularly known as lever mechanism. salvia plant मध्ये लिव्हर मेकॅनिझम दिसून येते. साल्वियामध्ये अशा प्रकारचा अरेंजमेंट करोलाच आहे. इथं दोन अँथर तयार होतात, दोघांसाठी एक कॉमन कनेक्टिव्ह आहे. अप्पर अँथर हा फर्टाईल आहे, लोअर अँथर हा स्टराईल आहे. अप्पर अँथर पोलन ग्रेन्स तयार करतो, लोअर अँथर पोलन ग्रेन्स बनवत नाही आहे. म्हणून इन्सेक्टला फिजिट द्यायला आवडतं अप्पर अँथरला, कारण तो फर्टाईल आहे. म्हणून ज्यावेळेस इन्सेक्ट फ्लावरला व्हिजिट करतील त्यावेळेस ते लोअर अँथरवर बसतील, ज्यामुळं अप्पर अँथर एक्सपोज होईल आणि अप्पर अँथर जो फर्टाईल आहे त्याचे पोलन ग्रेन्स इन्सेक्टच्या बॉडीला, माउथ पार्ट्सला, विंग्सला चिकटतील आणि ज्यावेळेस असा पोलन ग्रेन लोड असलेला इन्सेक्ट एका साल्विया प्लांटकडून दुसऱ्या प्लांटला व्हिजिट देईल त्यावेळेस ऑटोमॅटिकली तो पॉलिनेशन करल. अशा प्रकारच्या पॉलिनेशनच्या मेकॅनिझमला लिव्हर मेकॅनिझम असं म्हटलं जातं. कॅन बी बेस्ट ऑब्झर्व्ड इन प्लांट लाईक साल्विया. ओके, सो युक्का इम्पॉर्टंट फॉर युअर कॉम्पिटिटिव्ह एक्झाम. नेक्स्ट, so pollination, biotic pollination by insect is called entomophily. Okay, now in short only the name pollinating agents and the type of pollination. Pollination by birds is called as ornithophily. Pollination by birds is called as ornithophily. One important adaptation, tubular corolla is present. In case of bird pollination, tube-like corolla is present. Birds can easily detect violet flowers. That's why in most of the bird pollinating plants, generally flowers are violet. Birds can visit the flower, they can easily penetrate their beak inside the tube-like corolla. This corolla is called as tubular corolla, an adaptation for bird pollination, an adaptation for bird pollination. Please note, birds do not have sensations of smell, smell. That's why non-scented flowers, bird pollinating flowers are non-scented. Okay, they do not detect scent. Okay, right. Ornithophily, bird pollination. Then snails, pollination by the agency of snail is called as malacophily. Pollination by snails, malacophily. Pollination by ants, myrmecophily. Okay, lemurs are also responsible for bringing pollination. Okay, snakes are also important agents for pollination, ophidophily. Pollination by snakes, ophidophily, ants, myrmecophily, snails, malacophily, birds, ornithophily, insects, entomophily, wind anemophily, and water is called as hydrophily. These are the different agents required for pollination. Okay, right. Now next, double fertilization. Actually, when we discussed the development of male and female gametophyte and the structure of ovule, at that time two kinds of fusion, I told you two kinds of fusion, that is male and female gametic union and one male gamete and two polar nuclei, central nuclei fusion. So, okay, this act of fusion of two gametes is called as double fertilization. Now, one more important point, double fertilization. What is double fertilization? In angiosperm, unique property is observed called as a double fertilization. In flowering plants, fertilization occurs twice, called as double fertilization. This mechanism was firstly discovered by scientist Nowotny in 1898 in plant Lilium and Fritillaria. In Lilium and Fritillaria, Nowotny firstly discovered important process called as double fertilization. Events in double fertilization. There are different events in double fertilization. Okay, number one, first event is pollination. Second, germination of pollen grain. Germination of pollen. Third, syngamy, and fourth, triple fusion. These are different events in double fertilization. Number one, pollination. Number two, germination of pollen grain. Number three, syngamy, and last is called as a triple fusion. Okay. So, top portion, stigma. Stigma is the top fertile portion. Stigma is sticky, it is sugary, it is enzymatic. Such a stigma is called as receptive stigma. Dash is the receptive portion of gynoecium. Stigma is the receptive portion of the gynoecium. Receptive because it is ready to receive the pollen grains. It is sticky to allow the deposition of pollen. Sugary, pollen love sugar. The germination of the pollen grain is made faster when sugar is present, and stigma secretes useful enzymes required for the germination of pollen grain. Okay. So, many pollen grains, pollination by the pollination, either biotic or abiotic agents, many pollens falls on the stigma. Different kinds of pollens falls on the stigma. Pollens when falls on the stigma, stigma provides all favorable conditions for the germination of pollen grain. Pollen grain starts germinating. As a result of germination, they forms pollen tube. Okay, but the pollen grain which is more superior, which adapts fastly, have the chance to produce its pollen tube, and the pollen tube protrudes out through the pores. These pores on exine are called as germ pores. Pollen tube is formed from the intine. Pollen tube comes out from the germ pores, and pollen tube starts moving through the style. Okay, the length of pollen tube is equal to length of style. The length of pollen tube is equal to length of style. So, pollen tube passes through the style. Meanwhile, the development of male gametophyte takes place, and by two mitotic divisions, two male gametes are formed. Okay. This pollen tube starts moving towards the embryo sac region, carrying two male gametes. Pollen tube is guided with the help of here ovule, egg, one more time, central egg, two synergids, central cell, 3 antipodal cells, 7 celled, 8 nucleated embryo sac. The path of the pollen tube is guided with the help of filiform apparatus present in synergid. The function of filiform apparatus is to attract the pollen tube and to bear the shock of pollen tube. Okay. Then this pollen tube have multiple option. Pollen tube generally enters through the most common entry, that is micropyle. When pollen tube enters inside the embryo sac through the micropyle called as porogamy. This kind of movement of pollen tube is called as porogamy. Okay, right. Then when pollen tube enters inside the embryo sac region, pollen tube bursts, it releases. This portion अपन expand करूँ, pollen tube enters in the embryo sac region, where it bursts, releases two male gametes, one male gamete, one female gamete or egg. One male gamete fuses with female gamete. This act is called as syngamy. Syngamy is simply called as first fertilization. The union of the fusion of female gamete with any one male gamete is called as syngamy, and syngamy results in the production of diploid, because both male and female are n haploid, diploid, that is 2n zygote, and zygote develops into an embryo. So, embryo is the post fertilization product formed as a result of syngamy. Okay. Remaining male gamete, one more male gamete fuses with two polar nuclei, fuses with two polar nuclei. So, three nuclei participate in the second fertilization, popularly called as triple fusion. Second fertilization is called as triple fusion. Here three nuclei participate in triple fusion. The product of triple fusion is PEN. PEN is called as primary endosperm nucleus. PEN is called as primary endosperm nucleus and is triploid. The function of PEN is to give rise to the formation of endosperm. Endosperm is nutritive tissue. The growing embryo derive its nutrition from the cells of endosperm. Therefore, the significance of double fertilization in angiosperm is that both the male gametes are used. Both the male gametes are used. One male gamete fuses with a female gamete to form zygote or embryo. Another male gamete fuses with two polar nuclei to form primary endosperm nucleus or endosperm, which is nutritive tissue and going to provide nourishment to the developing embryo. So, both the male gametes are used. Number 1, post fertilization changes starts after double fertilization. It is a unique feature seen in angiosperm. Both, that is embryo as well as endosperm, both are formed at the same time, and it is observed in certainly the most developed plants, that is angiosperm. An important feature of angiosperm is presence of double fertilization, formation of triploid nutritive tissue, that is endosperm, and both the male gametes are used. Okay, right. Then after fertilization, post fertilization changes starts. After fertilization, post fertilization changes begins. It involves formation of embryo, endosperm, seed, fruit, etc. Okay. Now next, development of, in brief, development of embryo. Embryo is the post fertilization product. It is formed as a result of syngamy. During the development of embryo, one male gamete unites with a female gamete. As a result, the union results in the formation of zygote. Both gametes are haploid. As a result, the union results in the formation of diploid state called as zygote. Zygote after fertilization secretes wall around itself and now called as oospore. After fertilization, zygote secrete wall around itself called as oospore. Now this zygote undergoes mitotic division. आता त्या oosporच्या कोणत्या डिव्हिजन्स होतील? मायटॉटिक डिव्हिजन. It results in the formation of two cells. Okay. Two-celled stage is formed. One is called as embryonal cell and another is suspensor cell. Embryonal cell and suspensor cell. Suspensor, important, is a part of developing embryo. Suspensor is a part of developing embryo whose function is to push the embryo inside the endospermic region to obtain the nourishment. They may ask you question, suspensor is a part of A, developed embryo, B, fully grown embryo, C, developing embryo. It is a part of developing embryo. Suspensor हा developing embryoचा पार्ट आहे आणि सस्पेन्सरचं फंक्शन आहे एम्ब्रियोला एंडोस्पर्मिक रिजनमध्ये पुश करायचं जेणेकरून एम्ब्रियो हा खूप सारं फूड किंवा न्यूट्रिशन ऑब्टेन करण आणि त्याची डेव्हलपमेंट होईल. One more mitotic division takes place. As a result, two-celled proembryo is formed. Two-celled proembryo is formed because the basal, this cell is suspensor cell. First two cells are formed as a result of one more mitotic division. So two-celled proembryo is formed, right? These are the two cells of embryo. One more mitotic division takes place. It results in the formation of tetrad. Four-celled embryo is formed, tetrad is formed. Meanwhile, the suspensor cell elongates. Exactly, the apical suspensor cell become more enlarged, called as a haustorial cell. The terminal cell become more enlarged, called as haustorial cell. It suck the food for embryo, and this entire portion is called as now suspensor. Suspensor become more massive, and the function of this suspensor is to push the embryo inside the endospermic region to obtain the nourishment, and at last the embryo is formed with either single or two cotyledons. In dicot, two cotyledons are formed. In monocot, one cotyledon is formed, and then embryo get embedded inside the seed, because after fertilization ovules are converted into seed. Okay, now how exactly development of endosperm takes place? Development of endosperm. Endosperm is post fertilization product. It is formed after fertilization. Endosperm is triploid. It is a nutritive tissue. The function of endosperm is to nourish the embryonal cells. After fertilization, second fertilization, one male gamete fuses with two polar nuclei. One male gamete fuses with two polar nuclei and results in the formation of triploid tissue called as PEN. Male gamete plus two polar nuclei. It results in the formation of triploid tissue called as PEN, primary endosperm nucleus. It is triploid. PEN gathers the cytoplasm and converted into endosperm. Endosperm, it gathers cytoplasm and converted into endosperm. Endosperm is further classified into three types. Okay, number one, nuclear endosperm. Most common type of endosperm is of nuclear type. What is nuclear endosperm? How is it formed? During the formation of nuclear endosperm, PEN, which is triploid, undergoes mitotic division. And primary endosperm nucleus undergoes mitotic division and results in the formation of many triploid nuclei. Primary endosperm first undergoes mitotic division. Here vacuole is formed at the center. PEN is triploid, undergoes mitotic division, result in the formation of many triploid nuclei. Further, many mitotic divisions takes place. These are also called as mitotic divisions are called as free nuclear divisions. Further, many mitotic divisions takes place, and at last the endosperm become cellular. At last the endosperm become cellular. The endosperm, which is nuclear in the beginning, the endosperm which is nuclear in the beginning and terminates into cell, called as a nuclear endosperm. The endosperm which starts nuclear endosperm, it starts as nuclear and ends as cellular. The endosperm is called as nuclear when it starts as nuclear and ends as cellular. न्यूक्लियर एंडोस्पर्म हा कॉमन टाइप आहे एंडोस्पर्मचा. इथं प्रायमरी एंडोस्पर्म न्यूक्लियस, त्याची मायटोटिक डिव्हिजन होईल, खूप साऱ्या न्यूक्लियाय तयार होतील ट्रिप्लॉइड, पुन्हा मायटोटिक डिव्हिजन होतील, पहिल्यांदी बनल्या न्यूक्लियाय आणि लास्टला काय तयार झालेत हे सेल, आणि सेलच्या आतमध्ये काय आहे न्यूक्लियाय. म्हणजे जो एंडोस्पर्म सुरुवातीला न्यूक्लियर असतो आणि शेवटी सेल्युलर बनतो त्याला न्यूक्लियर एंडोस्पर्म म्हणायचं. ओके, नाउ second type of endosperm is called as cellular endosperm. In case of cellular endosperm, PEN, it is triploid, it undergoes mitotic division, and as a result of mitotic division it forms cell, it forms triploid cells, it forms triploid cell. Further pre-nuclear divisions or mini mitotic divisions takes place and large number of cells are added. Means the endosperm, cellular endosperm, it starts as cellular and ends as cellular, is called as cellular endosperm. For the formation of cellular endosperm, PEN, which is triploid, undergoes mitotic division, result in the formation of large number of cells. Further many mitotic divisions or free nuclear division takes place. Again at last large number of cells are added. So therefore the endosperm which starts as a cellular, ends as a cellular, is called as cellular endosperm. What is nuclear? Which starts as a nuclear, ends as a cellular, is called as a nuclear. Cellular endosperms since beginning is cellular. Okay, and one more kind of endosperm is called as halobial endosperm. Third type, halobial endosperm. Here PEN undergoes mitotic division. It results in the formation of two chambers. It results in the formation of one mitotic division. It results in the formation of two chambers. These are the two chambers. Further, many mitotic divisions takes place, and each chamber is filled with the help of many nuclei. In the formation of halobial endosperm, PEN primary endosperm nucleus undergoes mitotic division. PEN undergoes mitotic division. PEN is triploid. As a result, two chambers are formed. One towards micropylar side is called the micropylar chamber. Opposite is called as chalazal chamber. Further, many mitotic division takes place, and each chamber is filled with the help of many nuclei, called as halobial endosperm. This kind of endosperm was firstly noticed in the order of monocot, called as Hilobi. What is Hilobi? Hilobi is the order of monocot. In this order, halobial endosperm was firstly noticed. Since then, called as halobial kind of endosperm. One more time, brief. Endosperm is post-fertilization product. It is formed after fertilization. Endosperm is triploid. For the formation of endosperm, one male gamete fuses with two secondary polar nuclei. It results in the formation of PEN. The function of endosperm is to nourish the developing embryo. Okay. Suspensor is a part of embryo whose function is to push the developing embryo into endospermic region. Endosperm is triploid, is classified into three types. Nuclear endosperm, it starts as a nuclear, ends as cellular. PEN undergoes mitotic division, forms nuclei. Further mitotic division forms cell. One more time, nuclear endosperm most common. It starts as nuclear, ends as cellular. Second, cellular endosperm. It is cellular since the beginning. It starts as cellular, ends as cellular. Halobial endosperm, PEN undergoes mitotic division. Firstly forms two chambers, micropylar and chalazal, and further mitotic division takes place, and each chamber is filled with the help of many triploid nuclei. This kind of endosperm was discovered firstly in the order of monocot, so popularly called as halobial kind of endosperm. Now next, seed. What is a seed? Seed is the post-fertilization product. It is formed after fertilization. Seed is formed due to ovule, or after fertilization ovule itself is converted into seed. Soft, fleshy, succulent ovule is converted into hard, stony seed after fertilization. Okay, right. Seeds are classified into two types. Number one, albuminous or endospermic seeds, and the second, exalbuminous or non-endospermic seeds. Endospermic seeds are also called as albuminous because albumin is the nutritive tissue. Endospermic seeds are also called as albuminous seeds. Those seeds in which sufficient endosperm is left after the feeding by an embryo called as endospermic seeds. एंडोस्पर्म हा एम्ब्रियोसाठीचा फूड आहे, परंतु काही सीडमध्ये एम्ब्रियोनी एंडोस्पर्म खाऊन सुद्धा खूप सारा एंडोस्पर्म तसाच सीडमध्ये शिल्लक राहतो. अशा सीड्सला एंडोस्पर्मिक किंवा अल्ब्युमिनस सीड्स म्हटलं जातं. Those seeds in which sufficient endosperm is left after feeding by embryo. Those seeds in which sufficient endosperm is left after the completion of taking food by an embryo. ज्या सीडमध्ये एम्ब्रियोनी एंडोस्पर्म खाल्ल्यानंतर सुद्धा खूप सारा एंडोस्पर्म तसाच शिल्लक राहतो, अशा सीडला एंडोस्पर्मिक सीड म्हटलं जातं. इन एंडोस्पर्मिक सीड फूड is stored in the form of endosperm. In endospermic seed, food is stored in the form of endosperm. Example, cereals. The seeds of cereals, dhanya plant, are endospermic. Most of the endosperm is left in such a seeds after feeding by an embryo, called as endospermic seeds. Okay. In this, food is stored in the form of endosperm. In endospermic seeds, endosperm is developed. Hence, cotyledons are reduced. In endospermic seed, endosperm is developed, hence cotyledons are highly reduced. ज्या सीडमध्ये एम्ब्रियोनी खाऊन सुद्धा सफिशियंट एंडोस्पर्म तसाच शिल्लक राहतो, अशा सीड्सला एंडोस्पर्मिक सीड्स असं म्हटलं. एंडोस्पर्मिक सीड्स किंवा अल्ब्युमिनस सीड्समध्ये मेन फूड हे एंडोस्पर्म किंवा अल्ब्युमिनचं स्टोअर केलेलं असतं. आणि ज्या सीडमध्ये एंडोस्पर्म आहे, मुख्यत्वे करून सिरियल्स, अशा सीडमध्ये कॉटिलिडॉन्स दल हे खूपच रेड्युस्ड असतात. ओके. नेक्स्ट जस्ट अपोजिट करा, एक्स अल्ब्युमिनस सीड्स. दोज सीड्स इन विच नो endosperm is left. No endosperm is left, and entire endosperm is used by embryo, called X albuminous or non-endospermic seeds. Those seeds in which no endosperm is left and entire endosperm, whole endosperm is used by the developing embryo, because endosperm is the food of embryo, called as non-endospermic or X albuminous. ज्या सीडमध्ये थोडा सुद्धा एंडोस्पर्म शिल्लक राहत नाही, ज्या सीड्समध्ये थोडा सुद्धा एंडोस्पर्म शिल्लक राहत नाही, आणि सर्व एंडोस्पर्म एम्ब्रिओ वापरून टाकतो, अशा सीड्सला नॉन एंडोस्पर्मिक किंवा एक्स अल्ब्युमिनस सीड्स असं म्हटलं जातं. ज्या सीड्स ओके नॉन एंडोस्पर्मिक असतात तिथं कॉटिलिडॉन्स डेव्हलप्ड असतात. इन नॉन एंडोस्पर्मिक सीड्स endosperm is highly reduced and cotyledons are fully developed. In non-endospermic seeds, endosperm is highly reduced and cotyledons are fully developed. Example, pulses. डाळी वर्गातील seeds non-endospermic cotyledon. We can break the seed into two parts. These cotyledons are developed because endosperm is reduced. So one more time, Paradeda, seed is post fertilization product. Seeds are formed after fertilization. Seeds are classified into albuminous or endospermic, ex-albuminous or non-endospermic. Albuminous endospermic cereals, non-endospermic pulses. Endospermic seeds are those seeds in which sufficient endosperm is left after feeding by an embryo. In endospermic seed, food is stored in the form of endosperm. Therefore, in endospermic seeds, endosperm is developed so that cotyledons are thin, dry and papery. They are reduced. On the other hand, in ex-albuminous or non-endospermic seeds, those seeds in which no endosperm is left and entire endosperm is consumed by embryo called as ex-albuminous or non-endospermic seeds. In a non-endospermic seed, endosperm is reduced and cotyledons are developed. Example, pulses. Okay, right. Now next, structure or a figure of a maize seed. Okay, maize seed or jowar seed is called as a fruit. Maize seed is nothing but a fruit. Okay, seeds remain present in dormant stage. Seeds shows a dormancy. Dormancy is the period. Seed shows dormancy. Dormancy is simply called as resting period of the seed. Dormancy is the period during which seeds undergoes prolonged rest. Dormancy is caused due to internal unfavorable conditions of the seeds. Dormancy म्हणजे सुप्तावस्था. ज्या स्थितीमध्ये सीड्स हे रेस्टिंग पिरियडमध्ये असतात त्याला म्हणायचं डॉर्मन्सी आणि ते जर्मिनेट होत नाही. सीड्स हे नॉन व्हायाबल असतात आणि सीड्स जर्मिनेटच होत नाही. ज्यावेळेस सीड्स जर्मिनेट होत नाही आहेत त्या स्टेजला तुम्ही नाव देऊन टाकाल सीड डॉर्मन्सी ऑर सिम्पली रेस्ट पिरियड. फ्रेंड्स, dormancy is caused due to external favorable but internal unfavorable condition of the seed. In case of dormancy, external conditions are favorable, but internal are unfavorable. Internal conditions are unfavorable, but external are favorable. Means water is there, oxygen is there, favorable climatic conditions are also available, but seed is having its own internal problems. Seed may have deficiency of growth promoting hormones, growth regulators कमी असू शकता, इमॅच्युअर एम्ब्रियो असू शकतो, हार्ड सीड कोट्स असू शकतात, सीडमध्ये फूडचा शॉर्टेज असू शकतो. म्हणून सीड जोपर्यंत तिच्या इंटरनल कंडिशन कंप्लीट होत नाही तोपर्यंत रेस्टिंग फेजमध्ये जाते. अशा पिरियडला तुम्ही नाव देता डॉर्मन्सी. म्हणून फ्रेंड्स, डॉर्मन्सी इज कॉज्ड ड्यू टू एक्सटर्नल फेवरेबल. बाहेर किती फेवरेबल असू द्या पण सीड रेडी नाही आहे. सीड इज नॉट रेडी टू जर्मिनेट बिकॉज ऑफ इंटरनल unfavorable conditions. Whenever the internal favorable condition comes, when seed then only seed will break the dormancy and will certainly germinate. See, dormancy is also caused due to presence of inhibitors. Some hormones are present inside the seed which inhibit the growth of the seed, which causes failure of germination. Hence seeds become non-viable. Non-viable, they become dormant. Okay, so Paradeda, dormancy is rest period of the seed. Dormancy is simply caused due to external favorable but internal unfavorable. सीडच्या स्वतःच्या इंटरनल प्रॉब्लेम्समुळे सीड्स जर्मिनेट होत नाही आणि त्या कंडिशनला तुम्ही नाव देता डॉर्मन्सी. ओके, हायेस्ट डॉर्मन्सी can be observed in the seeds of lupin plant. The seeds of lupin plant ची dormancy 10,000 years. मीन्स त्या 10,000 वर्ष कोणत्या स्टेटमध्ये राहू शकता? डॉर्मंट स्टेटमध्ये राहता. सीड्स ऑफ लुपिन प्लांट. डेट खारीक खजूर. द सीड्स ऑफ डेट remains in dormant condition for 2,000 years. Highest dormancy is observed in the seeds of lupin. The dormancy is 10,000 years. That of date seed dormancy is 2,000 years. Okay. So summary achi. Today we discussed about agents of pollination, modifications of different kinds of pollination, features of anemophily, entamophily, etc. Then double fertilization, the act of double fertilization, development of embryo, development of endosperm and seed. Okay. Remaining in the next lecture. Okay.